Good afternoon, St. Mary's. We have made it to the weekly email. So last weekend I was passing out little booklets of adoration. So it has adoration question mark. And those will be in the back of all of the pews. So each of the pews, each of the sections where the holds the books, each of those will have one. So if you didn't get one last weekend, highly, highly encourage you to pick up one this weekend. Super fascinating. And I didn't write the whole thing. I just wrote the first page. So this is the first booklet I've ever published. But don't be super impressed because the only thing that I wrote was on the first page. But a really cool story that happened to me. And so I kind of listed it out there. And then the rest of it is just explaining, kind of opening our eyes to the hidden reality that is in the Eucharist, right? If we knew what adoration was, if we knew what communion was, we would all be lining up a week in advance. If everybody in the world knew what was going on in the Catholic Church on Sunday, or every day, for a matter of fact, then it would be impossible to get there because it's so good. Like there's so much good, and we'll only get to see the effect of all this stuff when we die. When we close our eyes for the last time, we're all gonna die. We're gonna see, like, whoa, this is what was happening. But we don't want to be in the boat where it's like, oh, I missed the chance, right? I could have had these awesome graces. I could have had these profound experiences in my life, according to the faith of the Catholic Church. And the key is to see it now, right? It's all invisible, so we don't necessarily have visible access to that. But we do have, through the stories of the saints, through people's experiences, and through our own experiences, we actually can experience the Eucharist. The more that we are in front of God, the more we'll start to notice a change. And I've noticed that in my own life. It's actually palpable, it's tangible. And so that is going to be in the back of the church. This weekend, we're going to be doing adoration in the basement. No, I'm sorry. We're going to be giving a talk for the faith formation kids, because a lot of times kids don't understand what's going on. So in order for them to fully receive or fully enter into the life of prayer or how to pray in front of the Eucharist, we're going to go in the basement and we're just going to have like a 10-minute lesson. And then for the last 5 minutes, we're going to go upstairs and talk about, and we're just going to pray from there. So if you would like to come, if you're in the church, at around 10 o'clock, we're going to start the talk, and then, maybe 9:55, and then go up 10 minutes later to finish off in prayer. So if you're looking for insights, this is my entire life. I think if there's one reason I get to heaven, it's because of adoration. I think that would be the only reason. I'm not saying that for consistently, but Jesus says, whose much has been given, much is expected. And I know probably more than anybody. Most people that I know more than them. And I've been given more than most people. So for me, it's just like a great tool of salvation, right? If you were at my talk at Fatima, 15 minutes a day is what the Catholic Church says is necessary to meet the requirement of justice, right? So we owe God a certain amount of our time on a daily basis. And to satisfy that, the gift of life, right? To satisfy the fact that we're living and breathing and we're Catholic and we get to receive the Eucharist and we have food and family and friends and relationships, to satisfy all that, like to turn in prayer and to meet the requirement of Thanksgiving for justice's sake as at least 15 minutes a day. So St. Teresa of Avila says, if you pray for 15 minutes a day, I promise you salvation. Less than that, it becomes much more uncertain, right? So she's a doctor of the church. St. Augustine says in order to be saved, we must pray. Who's the other one? St. Alphonsus Liguori. So these are all doctors of the church, and they pass on to us what the Catholic Church teaches, right? So they just kind of pass that on. And so that's what the church teaches, and it's beautiful because prayer is amazing. It's like the best thing that we can do, but ultimately it's the last thing we want to do because it takes understanding, right? We have to understand what it is and how to do it, and then that helps, right? Nobody becomes a great basketball player just by stepping on the court, right? It takes time, and then you start to hear God in prayer. But what does He sound like, right? So all of that is going to take longer than 2 minutes to explain. But we can start the journey, right? You can start the process, and it's awesome. So the second thing that for some reason, it was on my heart. It was in my mind the other day. I was trying to go to bed. I was like, I need to talk about this. So in Russia right now, there's actually, my buddy told me something that was quite frightening, but it's not to like scare people, but just to be aware of what's going on in the world. Just information is always good as long as it's true information. And so the information was that Russia bought, I think it was $200 million of radiation medication. So, and then Biden was saying if they keep going in this direction, we could end up in a really bad place. Go online, look up what he said, but that's like a reality that's kind of happening right now. And Our Lady of Fatima, actually, over 100 years ago, mentioned that if we do not respond to her request, Russia will spread her errors throughout the world and will annihilate many nations, right? And so I'm not saying this to scare you, but there is a reality that exists that, this is what's going on, and so being aware of just these different these different things happening in the world and being aware of what Our Lady says. And why am I saying this? Because we still, we always have an opportunity to respond to Mary's plea until our time is up. We still can be doing what she asked us to do. And quite frankly, I'm not sure if the world's praying the rosary on a daily basis. I know I struggle with it sometimes, but that's something that we can do. And I know that in the past, this actually has been the case where wars have been stopped. Famines have been stopped by Our Lady's intercession, and so yeah, I wanted to pass that on. That was just kind of on my heart, and going back to it, to know things is better than to not know them, especially when we have such a great opportunity, such a great power given to us through the use of the Holy Rosary. So I think that was all that I had to say. If you have any questions about adoration or the Rosary or anything at all that relates to the Catholic faith, feel free to call me or send me an email, and we can go from there. All right, God bless you. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the last 80-degree weekend, probably in 6 months. All right, bye-bye.